Yo, if you're curious why I like sports betting, it's 1 a.m. I'm drinking wine. I have a 5 pick flex play. My final pick is a tennis play to cash me out for $4,000. And best of all, sportsbooks have already started to post NBA odds for the upcoming day. And I was able to find some value. I was actually able to lock in three 5 pick flexes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take you through them. And I say this all the time, but there's no debate here, right? This isn't like an open ended question. On PrizePicks, you should be placing 5 pick and 6 pick flex. It is mathematically optimal. We've gone through the math dozens of times. In 5 and 6 pick flexes, you need to win only 54.2% of your plays to break even, right? Whereas in a 2 pick power play, you need to win 57.7% of your picks to break even. So this difference is massive between 54.2 and 57.7. That is a massive difference, right? So long story short, what you're going to see me giving out, on PrizePicks, I'm always going to be giving out 5 pick flexes. So I have three for you for tomorrow. Let's start going through it. So I'm going to start here, right? So the odds jam screen, this is called the screen, and it's really useful for kind of like comparing where books have the line set at different levels. So sometimes you can see like right here, like, oh wow, Rozier, PrizePicks and FanDuel, or an underdog, they both have Rozier's line at 30.5 PRAs. All of the sports books are at 31.5, right? So there's a discrepancy. So the screen is really useful for kind of seeing like, okay, where is every book? Where are they setting the line and what are their odds? So basically the way I use the screen is I just kind of like scan around and I look for discrepancies between bookmakers, and then line movements are highlighted in green and red. But the picks I found today are from the positive EV tool. So you can see it right here, the odds jam positive EV tool. I probably spend 80% of my time on the positive EV tool. You can see it does live in-game wagering as well as pre-match. I mainly focus on pre-match, and the reason is when you're live betting, things move really fast, right? Like if you think about it, if you're trying to live bet a point spread in the NBA, every change in possession, right? If the Nets make a three, that's going to move the spread, right? All of these things are constantly moving the odds, so it's very hard to live bet, in my opinion, unless you're doing it at halftime in between quarters. Then you can find some pretty good success with positive EV betting, and I'll do it sometimes. But the first play I'm on, which you can see right here, is in the Knicks Hornets game, right? So I'm just following the data. I have the sports books I use selected. So you can see right here, you can select whatever sports books you want. In the first play I'm on is Gordon Hayward under 4.5 rebounds. So the way the EV tool works is you just want to hit the bet in bold that is, highlighted in green. So if we go down to the bottom, you can see on Caesars, it would be this random, I don't even know what league this is. OddsJam pulls in millions of odds every second for all major leagues. I'm not even sure what league this is, but this is a bet on Caesars. It looks like it's basketball, maybe like French basketball or something. But what you can see here on PrizePicks, the highest profit margin bet is in the Hornets Knicks game, Hayward under 4.5 rebounds, right? And why do we like it? So we know, we've gone through the math, in a PrizePicks 5-pick flex or a 6-pick flex, we know we're getting minus 119 odds about. Minus 118.4 for a 6 flex, minus 118.6. So actually a tad worse for a 5 flex. But typically I'm going with 5 flex because they're so similar, and it's much easier to find 5 profitable picks to include in an entry as opposed to 6, right? Sometimes finding that 6 one is pretty hard. So typically I'm going with 5 flexes. So you can see right here, this is a 1.11% profit margin. And you can see right here, all of the sports books are setting the odds. So what you're going to see is all of the bookmakers that have already released odds for Tuesday, NBA player prop odds, they're setting this line around, minus 140, minus 145. Like you can see Bet99, they're pricing this at minus 141. So we're getting, in a PrizePicks flex, we're getting 22 cents of improvement. Betly, no idea what it is, but they have different odds from state to state, and the odds jam encompasses that. 22 cents of improvement, right? FanDuel, we're getting almost 30 cents of improvement, right? We're getting 29 cents of improvement, minus 148 versus minus 119. And then Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker out there, one of the sharpest bookmakers in the world, they're pricing this at minus 142. So essentially, like, the whole point of OddsJam is trust the data, right? 99.9% of sports bettors, they trust their gut, and that's why they lose money. There are dozens of sports books out there, all pricing the exact same wager and telling you where the line should be set, right? You can see here, there are tons of sports books. I mean, literally tons of sports books all telling you, yo, this line should be set around minus 140. We're getting minus 119 in a PrizePicks entry. So very clear value. And we have a bunch of videos about how to back out your profit margin and stuff like that. But the whole point is like, it's kind of like if you could have dozens of prices for Bitcoin, right? It's like if on every exchange, Bitcoin is trading at $22,000, 22.4K, and then you go over to the PrizePicks exchange and they're like, hey, do you want to buy Bitcoin for 18K? And it's like, of course I want to buy Bitcoin for 18K. It's trading in the market at 22.4K. I'm getting a huge discount. So that's the exact same thing as positive EV sports betting, right? We're getting a huge improvement in the odds. We're getting minus 119 on PrizePicks, and all the books are pricing this around minus 140. So you can continue down and you can see, hey, Cameron Johnson, Kelly Oubre, Seth Curry, right? So we have 4 picks just directly from the EV tool. And I did not include Oubre and Hayward in the same entry. So what we can actually do is flip over to PrizePicks. As you can see right here, Cam Johnson, EV tool, Curry, literally just following the data, under 5.5 assists, right? 5 flex, we go 5 for 5, we win a K. Mitchell Robinson from the screen, SGA under 5.5 rebounds, Oubre under 6.5. And then the only difference in this slip is I replaced him, Oubre, with Hayward. So the reason you don't want to include them in the same slip is there's negative correlation, right? So there's negative correlation. So what that means is, right, if Hayward goes under, Hayward and Oubre, they compete for rebounds, right? If Hayward gets, let's say, 20 rebounds and he's getting most of the rebounds for the Hornets, then it's more likely that Oubre is going to go under. So you don't want to include both their unders, because if Hayward goes under, then it's more likely that Oubre will go under. If Oubre goes under, it's more likely that Hayward will go under. So because PrizePicks doesn't, they won't change your payouts depending on if you select the overs or the unders for a player, you want to include Oubre and Gordon Hayward in different entries. And if you have questions about that, you can email me. You can let me know. I'll include my email in the description. So then the final play I went with is right here, another $125 entry. Again, I have Curry, Johnson, PJ Washington this time, under 8.5 rebounds plus assists. Again, you don't want to include that with this Oubre play. Or the Hayward play, negative correlation, right? You don't want to take 2 players from the same team, their rebounds under in general, or their points under in general, right? Like if you took Luka 50 plus points and Kyrie 50 plus points, it's like if Luka's taking all the shots and going over 50 points, how is Kyrie going to go over 50? So if you take it to the extremes, the correlation kind of becomes more noticeable. Or it's like taking Luka under 10 points and Kyrie under 10 points. Why on earth would you ever do that? Those are very negatively correlated. So here's the final play I went with. And again, if any plays move, my plays are good. I give out plays with an edge. I'm using data. Unlike most stupid handicappers, I'm using data to give out plays that have a mathematical edge and advantage over the sports book, right? Like literally we have dozens of data points telling us this line should be at minus 140. We're getting minus 119. It's like a cheat code, right? So if PrizePicks moves the line down, don't come screaming at me, but just try to take 5 picks that haven't moved and include them in a 5 flex. Again, 5 flexes are mathematically optimal. So 1 play, you can take a screenshot if you want. Play number 2, play number 3. Let's make money, guys.